we'll love to explore our great outdoors. Thanks for watching CBSN Denver. I'm Kelly Worthman. Now, on top of all of the sunny days, we also have some of the highest elevations of any state, and that can actually lead to some dangerous conditions for your health. That is why we have invited Dr. Neil Box from the University of Colorado Cancer Center and Mark Lane, a skin cancer survivor. So, Dr. Box, according to the CDC, skin cancer is actually the most common form of cancer here in our country, but I understand that Colorado actually ranks pretty high when it comes to skin cancer rates.
Yes, Kelly. There's a few different types of skin cancer. There's basal and squamous cell carcinoma, which combined are the most common of all cancer types. So we don't actually know, we don't collect numbers on those because they're usually excised in local dermatology offices, but they are directly associated with the levels of UV that you get across your lifetime. So Colorado has some of the highest UV exposure levels in the country, and even though we don't know the exact numbers, we do know that the numbers of basal and squamous cell carcinomas are very, very high in this state in accordance with that very high UV exposure that we have due to altitude. The third type of cancer is melanoma, and that's historically been the most dangerous form of cancer. And so there's estimated to be over 100,000 melanoma cases this year in the United States. And in Colorado, our contribution, the American Cancer Society estimates, would be 1,920 people in Colorado will get in 2020 melanoma. And then, interestingly, a few years ago, when we were almost at, we were at around 96,000 cases a few years ago predicted, and at 10,000 deaths. But with all the advances in cancer therapy, in melanoma therapies recently, those deaths have come down to 130 cases to be expected in Colorado, and about 6,800 people nationwide. So that's some really amazing news right there.
Yeah, that's actually some good news considering kind of how daunting the information can be around skin cancer. So, Mark, I want to ask you, tell us about your diagnosis.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. So I was actually diagnosed about 10 years ago with stage 3 melanoma. And stage 3 is where it's not just in a mole on your body, but it's actually metastasized somewhere else. And, it seemed to be a very disconnected thing because it was something that we could just take off and monitor. I did actually do some initial treatment for that chemotherapy based. Again, you never actually felt sick, so you don't really think too much about it. However, 2 years later, we were doing our follow-up scans, and that's when we found it in my lung, and so that became a stage 4 diagnosis. And over that time, you've got more educated, working with the doctors in the CDC Cancer Center. As Dr. Box has mentioned, there's been a lot of advances in this area. And was able to use a very new treatment at that point, which was to eradicate the tumor within a couple of years.
Wow, and it's so wonderful to hear you've been in remission for quite some time. If you don't mind me asking, Mark, I actually have some relatives who have gone through their own skin cancer diagnosis, but I know that it can be tricky to kind of know whether or not this is something that you might have. So what was the first sign that maybe you thought that you should be checked out for this issue?
Well, being very fair skinned, I'm actually from the UK, and so I not have a lot of skin exposure over the years, but I was getting routine checks, keeping an eye on moles. I'd had a few removed over the years to actually, and to examine them, because that's the only really way to be sure of a diagnosis is to actually get the mole looked up under the microscope. So we'd done some of those, but nothing had really shown up. And then I found a mole on my back that I was a bit worried about. The dermatologist wasn't too concerned, but he decided to biopsy it. And that's when we found it was actually positive for melanoma.
I imagine that was probably a bit frightening. Do you have any advice, Mark, for folks who might think, you know what, I'm not at risk, I'm outside all the time, my skin's just fine, I wear sunscreen. Do you have any advice for folks who think this isn't just going to affect me?
Yeah, it's certainly just keep a look at yourself. Watch for changing moles, the ABCDs of melanoma, and making sure that you're keeping an eye on things that are changing, abnormal, the size, the coloring, all those areas. And if you have anything that you're worried about and you're concerned about, make that appointment with a dermatologist and have them look at it.
So Dr. Box, I can't help but wonder, we're heading into summer. Everybody wants to be outside. I mean, my goodness, especially during a pandemic. Right now, we're all eager to get outside as the weather has improved. Can we trust sunscreen to help keep us safe? And does SPF matter?
Oh, absolutely. So yes to both of those questions. You can trust sunscreen to keep you safe, but we recommend that sunscreen be used with a comprehensive sun safety program. And that includes when you're outside for long periods of time, use shade wherever you can if the choice is available. And then secondly, wear sun-safe clothing and hats. So cover your skin wherever possible. And then on the exposed parts of the body that you can't sort of cover up with, use sunscreen liberally.
Thank you, Mark, for being with us this afternoon, and thank you, Dr. Box, as well. We do appreciate it. And if you would like more information on how to protect yourself from the sun or any other skin cancer tips, just head over to cbsdenver.com.